has access to.
Let's get into it, trainers. Our second ever streamed Pokemon Champions game from the EU region. And it's Incineroar and Floette in the lead for Arash, so no Vivian to speak of, as well as the Garchomp and Charizard. And let's not forget, you chose this matchup.
Yeah, really great choice from our audience at home. But we've got the fake out here from the Incineroar. It's at least going to give the Floette a little bit of room this turn. I mean, it's not too worried about probably what the Garchomp's got access to here. So do you go for the fake out into the Charizard here just to prevent any big potential weather balls that could come into your Floette early and do damage that you kind of prefer to avoid here? If you do that, you do leave the Garchomp open to get in maybe a Rock Slide. If it does outspeed the Floette, depends on how it's been trained, there is a potential of a flinch from a Rock Slide.
Charizard is going to be switching, and coming out in its place will be Aegislash and the shiny as well. What a fantastic shiny it is. Mega Floette is hitting the field. It might be from Generation 6. We've got the Generation 1 battle theme playing in the background. Lovely throwback back to 30-odd years ago. Now it's Fairy Aura activated, and all of its Fairy moves are hitting all the harder as well. Floette is just going for the Carmine here, actually. It's sort of had a very free damage into the Garchomp, but it will be boosting up. Playing the longer game, wanting to deal with Rory's Pokemon lurking in the back. Going for the Rock Slide, it will be dodging on the Incineroar, which would have been super effective. Again, it's mitigated by the Intimidate, and Floette can take that for days. Not super effective there at all. Incineroar, meanwhile, goes for that parting shot onto the Aegislash, not hitting quite as hard.
Yeah, really nice parting shot. Nice turn one from Arash here. And some interesting information here that we get. The Floette is outspeeding the Garchomp on Roy's side. So this next turn after that Carmine boost, the special attack there is increased. It is going to be threatening the Garchomp pretty heavily. The Aegislash as well is not going to appreciate that -1 attack drop either, because now it relies on the Poltergeist to hit for super effective damage. It's not going to be hitting as hard, probably not going to be able to pick up a knockout, and you've also got a really nice pivot into the Sinistcha now that is going to be taking super effective damage, but it has the Rage Powder just to give that Floette a little bit of extra protection if needed.
And Aegislash doesn't have access to a damaging steel type move here, so the Floette is a little bit safer. Sinistcha switching out in order to provide more matchup hospitality in a future turn. Incineroar coming back in for yet another Intimidate drop onto this Garchomp and dropping the attack further of the Aegislash. Floette setting up a Carmine. This is classic from our EU players, just cycling in these Intimidates and parting shots from the Incineroar, making this Floette unremovable from the field. Aegislash is attacking here, going for its stance change, getting a big old boost to its physical attack, and now it's using its Mega Stone against it, the Floette type, into the Floette, but it can take that so well.
Yeah, it's going to be able to Draining Kiss, heal off any of that damage. You can see how pivotal the Intimidate drop is, and also that parting shot. Now, the Aegislash is going to be susceptible to getting hit now in this stance form, where if Floette comes into it, it will knock it out, of course, so it probably has to revert or switch off the field to undo these drops that it's taking Garchomp in a vulnerable spot. So this is why we're seeing it switch out, reset those drops that it's taken, and Kingambit come back onto the field.
Double Steel and Double Sword on the field right now. Kingambit and Aegislash. It's not going to be very effective, the Draining Kiss, but look at that. It heals so much damage. The Aegislash takes so much thanks to the double Carmine boost. Okay, but the parting shot into the Kingambit here. It's got this Define ability. So now it's at +1 in its physical attack, and this Kingambit, unlike in our first game, does have access to Iron Head.
Yeah, and that is the thing that was missing on that Aegislash there. You were hoping it comes onto the field. It's really positioned well, but not offering that steel-type threat. But now you've got the Kingambit. Has taken that Defiant boost and really putting a lot of pressure on. It did dodge the Draining Kiss that turn as well, so it is pretty fresh coming in. And Poltergeist here, you can see again, just not anywhere near impactful, especially when you've got that Friend God coming onto the field from the Mousehold. So really great pivot again from Arash.
The Kingambit now actually is +3, right, after the parting shot there, dropping the special attack as well. It's very boosted up either way, and so it's very threatening with access to Low Kick and Iron Head as well as the double Dark moves.
+1 at the minute, because it took the Intimidate drop, and then it gets the +2 boost from the parting shot. So at the minute, so it's still very threatening, and in a position where it can threaten, you know, with the Iron Head into the Floette. If you don't follow me here with the Mousehold, it will pick up the knockout. Of course, is Kingambit trained enough to take the double up here, because you've got the feint potential, which we're not going to see here, and then the Draining Kiss into it to break that Focus Sash that is giving it that little bit of protection going into this turn.
And this is why Sinistcha is more prevalent now in Pokemon Champions than it's ever been. Hospitality just topping up that Floette all the more. Meanwhile, the King's Shield coming out from Aegislash. Keep yourself safe, as the Sucker Punch is a lot, but it's not going to be enough to claim the knockout onto the Floette here. A Moonblast, though, is neutral damage into this Kingambit, and up +2 in your special attack. The Kingambit hangs on with that Focus Sash, of course. It's not nice, and we see 2 commonly on that Pokemon. Would have been enough for the KO, but Rowie is going to want to do all they can to keep those boosts intact.
Yeah, you can see how valuable that Focus Sash is here, just to allow the Kingambit to stick around on the field. Now, it is going to be picked off by this Floette this next turn. It does have the option to go for another Sucker Punch, but the problem now is you've got that Rage Powder on the Sinistcha that's going to be able to just detract that and keep that Floette nice and healthy for another Draining Kiss to be able to fire it out. The problem is everything on the field now on Roy's side, it's pretty low health, so you're not going to be getting that much health back each and every turn as we get more and deeper into the battle.
So Charizard has made an appearance once more. Sinistcha now the center of attention, is not going to want to take any Dark-type moves, but of course the Floette can neutralize that threat before the Kingambit can come into play. The Floette's looking a whole lot less healthy now, but it's been able to claim some good ground for Arash here. With Charizard coming in, it loves to stare down. Yes, low health Floette. Of course, the Sinistcha's already on the field, so it can't provide an immediate hospitality top-up of HP. It could, perchance, get a Life Dew off, though, but this Aegislash will have something to say about it.
Yeah, this is a much better position for Roy now, where you've got the Charizard onto the field. It's not really worrying about this Fairy-type attacks from the Floette and can hit back with a big offensive Heat Wave here. Even after the Calm Mind, you would say a boosted Heat Wave in the Sun, probably enough to get the remaining health on the Floette and the Sinistcha here, but a really nice switch in response to that into the Incineroar. Gonna once again drop an all-important Intimidate onto the Aegislash, which is also leaving the field post-haste.
Immediately switching, both of these trainers playing this revolving door, just trying to claw the advantage. And here comes Mega Charizard Y. Oh yes, it's got those big wings beating fast, and could it be beating its path through to a victory here in Swiss Round 3? There's that Drought activated. Floette doesn't like the look of that sunlight bathing, it's basking down in as the Charizard goes for this Heat Wave. The Incineroar, of course, will be resisting it nicely. Oh, okay, Incineroar is actually going to be dodging here, but it still would have been really nice chip for Rowie to claim.
Yeah, the problem now is Arash has positioned themselves so well where they've got the Fake Out. It's easy into the Charizard, prevent that from moving this turn. And we know the speed interaction between the Floette and the Garchomp. It is going to outspeed. It is going to be able to land a Draining Kiss into that Pokemon this turn. And off the back of it, why we're seeing it switch into the Aegislash. It's taken so much damage already, though. Is it going to be able to take a Draining Kiss this turn?
We've seen just how much damage Draining Kiss has done to the Aegislash in the past, and yeah, exactly that. That's going to be it down. Its shield and its sword put to one side, and now this Floette is able to get back to around half HP. It's still not going to want to be taking a Heat Wave from the Charizard, but having burned the Fake Out turn, now Rowie can just go on the offensive and click Heat Wave after Heat Wave, but Arash has so many tools at their disposal.
You've probably got one opportunity here if you are Raw Heat Wave. You want to protect the Garchomp this turn and try and pick up the knockout onto the Floette. Hope that the Weather Ball is enough. But of course, you've got Arash in the position where they can potentially just protect the Floette, parting shot into the Charizard. Yeah. It's whether or not Roy kind of sees through that, because if you expect to protect on the Floette, it means it opens the door for the Garchomp to at least attack this turn, but it's very risky because if that doesn't play out, you lose your Garchomp to that Floette.
Arash is backing this Floette that has a double boost to its special defense, let's not forget, thanks to those Calm Minds. Of course, the Sinistcha is taking one for the team here, potentially by switching in. Floette is actually going to be protecting itself anyway, as the Earthquake comes out, resisted by the Sinistcha, but of course, this Charizard Y is threatening that massive Heat Wave damage. Let's see just how much this Earthquake does for Sinistcha. It's all useful calculations to bring in to future games. And now the Charizard is going to be opting for that Heat Wave. Is the Sinistcha going to dodge just like the Incineroar before it? No, not this time around. And in that Sun, that Sinistcha has drunk its last matcha.
Yeah, I don't think you mind this too much of your Arash, because the Sinistcha kind of doing its job there, coming onto the field, activating the Hospitality, giving that extra, a little bit of additional health to the Floette. And not only that, now you can bring the Incineroar back into the field. You get another Intimidate onto the Garchomp, taking it down to -1. And you've got that active Fake Out, so you've got that position again where you're almost forcing the Garchomp to protect here. And if it doesn't, it's going to go down to a Draining Kiss, and you're also topping up that Floette. It feels very difficult, and we've not got many turns of Sun left. You can see there's 2 left. So Charizard hasn't got many opportunities to try and get that all-important Weather Ball that it's going to need to get off to get that big damage into the Floette and try and remove it. Once that piece is removed, though, if you can remove it, Garchomp has a much easier time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that mouse hold in the back, and it's not known for its offense. It's certainly a supportive piece. Charizard is going to be protecting this turn as well, so stalling out his own Sun is a really tough position for Rowie here, recognizing that Arash is in just such a strong place, and of course, protecting against that Fake Out. All eyes on this Charizard heading onto this next turn, if they're going to be able to benefit from this Sun that is a dwindling.
Yeah, we're going to see a double protect, I think, from Roy on the Garchomp here. If you can get the double protect here and then maybe try and get that big, powerful attack off with the Charizard, it's still going to be questionable whether or not the fire-type attack will be enough into the floor. It depends how it's been trained, of course. But, yeah, Roy not in the best of spots here. Especially after protecting the previous turn with the Garchomp. It feels almost pinned at this stage.
Maushold coming back in, providing that all-important Friend Guard boost to the Floette. This Floette just sat on the field for the entire game, just preserving those boosts and trying to get in the best position possible. The Draining Kiss into the Protect from the Garchomp. Here comes the weather ball. How much damage is it going to do? This is the crucial one. This is Arash's damage dealer, and look at that. Wow. It shrugs it off thanks to that Friend Guard. I wouldn't be surprised if Arash in most games brings this for of Floette, Sinistcha, Maushold and Incineroar, because they support each other just so well. So well, in fact, that it's going to force Rory to lock in the forfeit. And Arash is one game up. Yeah,
what a well-dictated game from Arash with these 4 Pokemon. And yeah, you saw the value of that Friend Guard there.
Unbelievable.
The Weather Ball was quite a whimper there, where you were thinking it's the one last chance you've got to remove the Floette. But you can see the power of that Calm Mind special defense boost. And then on top of that with the Friend Guard, what a great switch as well. Kind of suspecting, well, the play could be the Garchomp not attacking here. Just to get around that, I'm just gonna switch in my Maushold, get the Friend Guard, and then I've also got that fake out Intimidate that I can cycle back in a future turn if need be. But yeah, it's a really hard wall for Roy to break down. And just the way that the Intimidate cycling was there, I think Roy needs to take a bit more advantage of the King Gambit to kind of prevent the Intimidate cycling so much. Maybe something like King Gambit, Aegislash feels better against those 4 immediately, but it's a lot easier said than done, of course. The Floette, anytime it does attack, it is doing a lot of damage, of course.
But hopefully, if you can just neutralize it before it can get any of those boosts up, then that's certainly a way through. Of course, the thing is, Rory also has to contend with the fact that Arash could just lead Vivian, and anything could be put to sleep immediately, and then all of a sudden Arash once more is in the driver's seat. It's such a fascinatingly well-composed team from Arash, and I cannot wait to see how they pilot it in Game 2. Is it going to be a different playstyle? It's going to be the Sylveon in the lead, exactly that, just that massive burst damage into the Floette. Fairy doesn't resist Fairy, but with that Friend Guard provided by the Maushold, could be in for a tall order, and that King Gambit threatening down an Iron Head too.
Yeah, I really like this lead from Roy, saying, I'm going to go back on the offensive. Not going to lead with that Charizard. We'll maybe keep that for a little bit later on, but the Sylveon here is a Pokemon. If that Floette does Mega Evolve here, get that Fairy Orb activated, it is going to be able to take advantage of that, and those Hyper Voices, and in particular the Hyper Beam, if it can land, is going to be doing devastating damage. Nice that the King Gambit here kind of puts off that switch to the Incineroar, because you don't really want to be giving it those free Defiant boosts that we've seen be able to be so effective with. Now the Floette, especially in the front of an Iron Head King Gambit, is pretty threatened, but Roy making a quick, decisive switch here into the Aegislash from that King Gambit.
Yes, foretelling this Protect coming out from the Floette on Arash's side of the field. Meanwhile, this Maushold is left free to go for a Super Fang, but it was targeted into the King Gambit, and that Aegislash is a Ghost type, taking no damage from normal type moves. That would have halved the HP bar there. It will be on the receiving end of a big Fairy Feather, Pixelate, boosted Hyper Voice, and a critical hit to boost. And that Maushold, whereas it could pivot in quite happily in the previous game, unintimidated, undaunted, this game around, it doesn't have as much HP to work with to provide the Friend Guard for Floette.
No, a great switch there from Roy to just kind of quell what the Maushold was attempting to do, break the Focus Sash on the King Gambit, and now you've got that preserved in the back for later on, which will be very useful against this Floette. The Hyper Voice there, taking advantage of the opportunity just to get that damage off onto the Maushold, and now it's in a position, is it going to be... It's going to be very close. A quick attack's probably not going to be enough to pick up the knockout, but you can quite reliably here just click the Hyper Voice button, hoping that the Floette Mega Evolves. You can see it is forced off the field here as Incineroar makes its way on to the field.
That's the first time Floette has left the field across both of these games so far. The Super Fang is going to connect into Sylveon. Really nice way, just deal guaranteed half damage into that threatening offensive Pokemon. Aegislash on the offensive now as well. The Pasho Berry working against the Incineroar, but of course it's resisting this Poltergeist being a native Dark type, and look at that. It takes it oh so well here. Now you have an active Fake Out on the next turn, but Maushold will, of course, go down to this Hyper Voice. Sylveon is screaming away, and that Maushold, those big ears, just means it's hearing it all the more loudly.
Yeah, one of those defensive pivots, though, being lost for Arash. It was so decisive in that game. One now not going to be able to be leaned into to help that Floette in its game plan to overcome Rohi. So in a much better position, the Aegislash here is -1 attack, so its Poltergeists aren't going to be hitting as hard going into this turn. We already know the Floette takes about 50% from those, and it is threatened from the Incineroar this next turn. The Sylveon as well probably wants to get out of the way here and make way for the Charizard. It's an easy switch into this Pokemon here. It's not really going to be affected by any of the offensive threats on Arash's side right now.
Going for the not terrestrialization, the Mega Evolution onto this Floette. Still getting my head out of Scarlet and Violet and very much into Champions now as Fairy Aura is activating as well, boosting the power of those Fairy moves. The Fake Out into the freshly switched in Charizard, of course you can't Fake Out an Aegislash. The Carmine coming out from Floette and the boosted HC to its special defense already through going for his Mega Evolution, just capitalized on by the Carmines here. The Poltergeist, of course, using the Mega Stone to deal damage to this Floette. It got a special defense boost, not a physical defense boost, and look at that. That Floette is brought down oh so low. I would not be surprised if it's the Sinister in the back, so you can at least switch that in for Hospitality boost. But now it's threatened all the more by the Charizard that could just go for its Mega and then go for the Heat Wave.
Yeah, it's a really nice spot that you're in if you are Roy. I mean, you do have to be a bit careful with the Aegislash. It is full health, but of course the Floette has boosted its special attack, so can Draining Kiss into you, and especially in that stance form, you will be taking more damage than you would like. But you've got the play where you can Heat Wave here and then go for a Sacred Sword into that Incineroar. Even if the Incineroar switches out to the Sinister here, you're going to get good effective damage off onto it. Or do you just go for the Poltergeist here to say, okay, well, I'm just going to go after this Floette? The problem is doing that. Maybe it protects, but is that better than it actually attacking and gaining any health back with that Draining Kiss in this spot?
Mega Charizard Y is here, trainers, and it's Pokemon we're likely to see a whole lot this weekend. But how much is it able to achieve here? Of course, Incineroar is going to be resisting these Heat Waves so nicely. Floette is just going for its Protect here. This is something Arash did a lot in Game 1 as well, keeping it as safe as possible because really putting all the eggs in the Floette basket. It is that Heat Wave. Incineroar was able to shrug it off in previous games, and the Incineroar, you know, every bit of chip damage is going to add up there, and that would be an active Fake Out off the field, the more damage that Incineroar takes too. Speaking of getting off the field, that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to hurl that parting shot Charizard's direction, so at least the Heat Wave isn't hitting as strongly now. Now forced to reveal that fourth and final Pokemon, and it's unsurprising that it is indeed Sinister.
Yeah, now out of the way of those Fire-type attacks, getting that Hospitality HP onto the Floette going to be really useful, and the Sacred Sword there going after the Incineroar, nice. And a really great switch. Arash catching that perfectly. Now the Sinister in that spot where it is going to want to probably switch out here into the Incineroar, but that's not a bad thing, right? You get another Intimidate onto the Aegislash, weaken that even further, and you're also not really too worried about the potential Heat Waves. While you've got the opportunity now to lock in, you need to go for a Draining Kiss into something on Roy's side to try and gain some of that lost health back and put Floette in a better, more commanding position than it is right now.
Yeah, and we saw how badly an Aegislash took a boosted Draining Kiss in the previous game. It's Pokemon that has a very low HP stat, so it's something that Arash can use to their advantage. Here it is, that Draining Kiss into the Aegislash, nearly doing 50% there, and it's going to be healing up this Floette all the more. And look at that, just 1 HP shy of being at full health. Heat Wave now. How much will it do to Floette? Oh my goodness, it can take it oh so well, even in the sun, thanks to that parting shot on the previous turn from the Incineroar and an active Fake Out coming into boot. Arash giving us a masterclass as to how to pilot this team, but the Poltergeist did so much damage on a previous turn. Floette is still sticking around. It's such a thorn in Rowy's side, and what a treat to be able to feature such high-level play and just Swiss round 3 of the Turin Special Championship.
Yeah, and Roy doing so well here. You can see the resources on Arash's side really dwindling. You've got active Fake Out now, so you can prevent this Charizard from going for one of those Heat Waves or Weather Balls this next turn, and we don't have many turns of the sun left. You know, we've got 3 left for this Charizard to take advantage of it. It's in a healthy position. Aegislash here is going to be open to potentially get another attack off. It's going to be touch and go whether another Draining Kiss though is going to be enough to take that down. If you miss the knockout and it gets another Poltergeist onto that Floette, there's a good chance it could pick up the knockout, and it could potentially even go for a Sacred Sword if that Incineroar is tied up this turn, faking out the Charizard and its attention diverted.
Exactly that, Lee. The Charizard isn't going to be acting. That's where the Fake Out is headed. Draining Kiss, Charizard brought down to around 50%. And again, just going to be able to heal up this Floette all the more. Another Poltergeist, though, should seal the deal on this Floette. It's a move that can miss, though. It looks like it's going to be hitting this time around. The Floette, and this one should be the finishing blow for the Floette, for Arash. Oh my goodness, it's not! It's 7 HP! Rowy saying, why are you not fainted yet? I'm putting so much much energy into removing you from the field. But this Eternal Flower is called Eternal for a reason.
Yeah, and it is sticking around a little bit longer. The threat now is the Shadow Sneak that the Aegislash has, so it can try and pick it off. But you've got this play where the Incineroar can come out. The Hospitality might just put it out of reach from a Shadow Sneak with those Intimidate drops that it's had and put it in a position where it can Draining Kiss the Charizard again and get that health back that it's just lost.
Oh no, it's going to be protecting this turn. It's going for its King's Shield here. No damage, headed in that direction. So let's see where Arash was targeting. The Moonblast, it was just going into the Charizard, just going for the KO here. Doesn't want to be healing up any HP. The Draining Kiss probably wouldn't have got the KO, but a Moonblast certainly will. And that is the Mega Pokemon down for Rowie. It's fascinating because heading into this game too, Rowie had so many more tools and showing us how to counter potentially Arash's team. But again, Arash just a master of playing this composition, showing how it's done as King Gambit now joins the fray.
Yeah, and King Gambit in a place. It's still got that Focus Sash intact, so it is going to be able to take at least one attack from this Floette. And it's got a great partner next to it, the Floette, in the ability with the Sinistcha to pull away those potential Iron Heads, those Sucker Punches that could come out. And you're going to have to sacrifice your Sinistcha, but I think it's worth it. You need to really prioritize taking this King Gambit down as quickly as possible. And you can't as freely switch in that Incineroar anymore, because if you do, you're activating that Defiant ability, which you want to try and avoid at this stage, with the Floette being so low health.
But it is the Pokemon that Arash is relying on for the damage, and it's stuck around for so long already, and with the Rage Powder now, it's meaning that the Floette is all the safer to get off a big old Draining Kiss into that King Gambit. The downside of running the Focus Sash is you're probably not as invested in your defenses, and that's something Arash can use to their advantage, healing up all the more with Draining Kiss. The Iron Head redirected now into the Sinistcha. Aegislash, I don't blame you, my friend, is going the offensive as well, but just what can it do against the Sinistcha? The Cassid Berry weakening the damage from this Poltergeist that is super effective Ghost-type damage. Is it going to be enough to take it? Oh, for days, my friend. That matcha is all the more topped up.
Yeah, and as close as this is right at the end here, we see the sun fading finally. I feel like Arash has got it in the bag. I think one of the things that you would say is, oh, the Incineroar comes in and it activates that Defiant ability, but the one problem that this King Gambit has, it doesn't have Protect to get around it, so the turn that the Incineroar does come onto the field, you've got that combination, Fake Out, Draining Kiss into it, and that Floette in a really healthy position now where it can just go for that Draining Kiss pretty freely into the King Gambit, knowing there's no Protect there. Rage Powder again, just to keep your Floette healthy, and then you've got the Floette Incineroar against that remaining Aegislash, so it feels a lot to do for Rohe, but never say never. We might see a comeback, but it feels very slim right now. Of course, they do have the Sylveon in the back.
Have the Sylveon in the back, and it's Hyper is the name of the game here. Hyper Voice, Hyper Beam, and it's dealing hyper offensive damage. But again, Sinistcha can redirect for days, because going for the Sucker Punch as well, now it's just a sitting target for even more HP recovery. The Moonblast targeted into the King Gambit, easily enough to secure the KO here. I mean, your Floette's basically at full health at this point. You may as well just go for all the damage you can with the Moonblast. I'd love to see the Sylveon have a hurrah here, get a big old damage, get a whole load of KOs as well. But with this Floette, which, let's not forget, has one Calm Mind boost up as well, it should be able to take those attacks all the better. Just 2 Pokemon remaining for Rowie.
Yeah, now the Aegislash comes onto the field, it does free up the Incineroar to kind of pivot back onto the field if you want. Any damage that it does take, it's so low at the minute, it probably will go down, but then you activate that Hospitality boost once again once the Sinistcha does enter the field. It is probably threatened now by the Shadow Sneak on the Aegislash, so you could probably remove it quite easily, but if you suspect a switch there, do you go for a Sacred Sword? It's a real 50-50 call here, but you've got nothing to really lose.
Yeah.
Do you go Hyper Beam as well into that Floette to try and get that Fairy boosted, Pixelate boosted attack off into the Floette? And under threat from that, we just see the Protect on the Floette this turn.
And the Fairy Feather as well, as Sinistcha gets that Protect off as well. So Arash just stalling out here. Aegislash is now in its attacking form. That stance change, but of course not doing anything here. Exactly as you said, Lee, calling Sacred Sword, predicting an Incineroar switch in here. Now Arash can use that information to their advantage. Wow, incredible play from Arash, and this is the quintessential protect the president style of play that we have seen so much in Indianapolis and this weekend.
Yeah, and this Floette just feels like in such a dominant spot right now. It will take a lot from that Hyper Beam, but I think because of that Calm Mind that we saw set up earlier, probably going to be able to just about take that attack. And then in response, the next turn, you're going to be able to Draining Kiss off that damage, of course, and then you've got the recharge turn to deal with. So it's a real risky play for Rohit to click that and hope that it is enough to get it. Moonblast into the Sylvia.
How much damage is it going to do? Easily enough to secure the KO there. I love the Incineroar switch in as well, because Poltergeist is the move that is the most threatening to Floette here. But of course, with the Intimidate, it means that it's not going to be hitting quite as hard. There could be a critical hit to speak of, though. Let's see. But no, that Floette, I feel like whenever it's been in the orange, it's mainly been on around 43 HP. It must be a number that Rory hates to see coming now. And this Aegislash hates to see coming the inevitable here, because it looks like our 2013 world champion is going to be champion of Swiss round 3.
Yeah, you've got to expect this next Draining Kiss or just a Moonblast here is going to be enough. And a Shadow Sneak now -1, not going to be nowhere near enough. And if you go for that, then you've got the Incineroar to deal with. The Sinister could switch in as well once again. Activate that Hospitality once again. But what a masterclass by Arash Ommati to show how well this team can perform in this current meta.
Yeah, there it is. Now at 50% HP, the Shadow Sneak, even that isn't enough to KO the Sinister, and it already had it Cassid Berry consumed. A Moonblast now, it's resisted damage, but Aegislash is not the bulkiest of Pokemon, and it's a boosted Floette, and we are boosting all the way through to Arash Ommati claiming Swiss round 3 here at the Turin Special Championships.